Yeah. MD. JPB. It's only right, baby.
Yeah. Why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back. You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one down, but damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of this, and I am back here with another video. Today I am doing what if Deku was a speedster. And don't worry, after this is what if Asta was a player. I'm working on that as I'm working on this as well, so I'll try to record both of them today. If I can't, you know, it's still all good. I hope you enjoyed this part. It's gonna be pretty long like most of my videos have been, and yeah, let's go. And don't mind the background noise, like I always say. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Discord server, you know, link is always down below. Go check it out, have fun, you know, and let's go. So last time we started off with Deku beating Todoroki after they have a bit of a talk, and then he beat Bakugo as well, winning the sports festival. And after this, Deku got word of Ingenium being hurt, and he healed him with All Might's permission. Then Deku and Ida work together with Ingenium and Gran Torino, and this leads to the four being in Hosu City, where Deku showed off his speed, beating Stain and saving Ida as well as Native. Then he got a lot of attention, and soon working with the heroes will be over, as he then promised Gran Torino that he would go and find All Might and heal him. And then the upcoming Force Training Lodge is kind of coming up, and you know, the students were paired up to fight heroes before they can go. But Bakugo and Deku were paired up to fight the strongest hero, All Might. Now, as Deku and Bakugo are told to work together, they believe it's impossible, and so do the other students, but they're still willing to go up against All Might. Everyone would then go through the test as other students watch in excitement, wondering how things will turn out. And then soon came Bakugo and Deku versus All Might. As Bakugo and Deku were walking down the street of the makeshift city, of course they were both like told the rules, and they either beat and cuff All Might or run out the gates, winning the trial. If you want, I can just run us out the gates in a flash, says Deku. What the hell is a flash? Anyway, don't get in my way. Like I said, I'll face All Might head on, and you can run off like a sissy if you want, says Bakugo. Deku would then sighs. This is when All Might appears in front of the two, towering over them. Oh, believe me, you two, this is gonna be fun. Bakugo would then blast at All Might, who would just tank the blow, swiping it to the side like nothing, and Deku would then enter flash time, running at All Might and punching him. This sends All Might flying, but he manages to catch himself, and he would think, now I know how that Nomu felt. Wow, Deku pushed back All Might, said Uraraka. All Might would then be sent, get sent flying to the side before being hit once again, sending him into a building. But before he hits the building, we see Deku run up as he punches All Might in the back. All Might would then slam into the ground, leaving Bakugo legitimately impressed, as he would wonder why Deku would ask to run out the gates when he can just do that instead. That little bastard is toying with All Might, thinks Bakugo. All Might would then get out of the crater he was in, seeing Deku in front of him. So, how's it feel to be at 100%, asked Deku. Well, even at 100%, it seems I can't hold a candle to you, young Midoriya. He would then lunge at Deku using a Carolina Smash, but as he does this, he gets sent flying so far into the air that he slams into the gate sign and breaks it. A huge shockwave would be felt as the students watching, including Bakugo, would be shocked seeing this happen right in front of their eyes. Did Deku just win against All Might, asked Kirishima? Aizawa would then think, nope, old dog still got some fight in him. All Might would then jump back as everyone sees him in the air, and Bakugo would snap out of it, blasting towards him and blasting All Might while he was airborne. However, as All Might sees this, he maneuvers, turning his back as he kicks the air, slamming into Bakugo. However, as he does, Bakugo slams his hands to his sides, creating the biggest explosions he could muster. So the two would slam into the ground together, with Deku getting out of their way. You would then see All Might stand up as Bakugo was on him and holding him in a chokehold, desperately trying to just do something, but it wasn't working at all. All Might was not only back at full strength, but Deku noticed something. He took off his bracers, thinks Deku. Seeing this, he enters flash time again, and he gently takes off Bakugo, and by gently I mean rips him off. And as Bakugo is stuck in time about to fall, Deku runs a few yards back. Alright, All Might, sorry, but this is gonna hurt. I hope you heal as fast as I do. Now, control the energy just right. He would then run in an instant, slamming a devastating punch in All Might's stomach as he then enters flash time, and everyone sees All Might fall to the ground, passing out. As Bakugo finds himself at the broken gates. At his side will be Deku, who takes off his mask and he looks at Bakugo. By the way, I couldn't leave much for you, but you know, we won, so that's good, right? He would then try to help out Bakugo, but Bakugo just smacks his hand to the side, telling him to fuck off as he then leaves. This would piss off Deku as he's tired of his normal attitude turning him all nice when he shouldn't have to act that way. Why am I trying so hard for that bastard? He's just a bully, nothing more. He would then put on his mask, running past Bakugo, heading into UA, and we cut to all of 1A in homeroom, feeling pretty down because most of them felt as if they were doomed because most of them failed. Hey guys, come on, cheer up, says Deku. There's a 90% chance this whole thing is just a joke made by Aizawa. Well, of course you can say that, you beat All Might for God's sake, says Mineta. Deku would then say, this has nothing to do with that. I bet you 20 bucks that Aizawa will walk in this room and say these exact words. I hate that most of you have failed, and as such, everyone is going to the Forest Lodge. Okay, that's way too specific, says Mina. Can you tell the future? Aizawa would then enter the class, interrupting her as everyone sits down, being afraid, wondering what's gonna happen. Aizawa would then say, so, most of you didn't pass. And since I hate that, as such, everyone will be going to the Forest Lodge. I thought you'd be more surprised. Everyone would then look at Deku with eyes full of interest to the point where they kind of scare him. Like, he wasn't exactly specific with what Aizawa was going to say, but he was pretty close, and that's pretty freaking amazing. Aizawa was just kind of confused. And then we time skip to everyone being in the mall as they have, to do some shopping. Deku would have a backpack being accompanied by Mina, Ida, Mineta, Jiro, Uraka, Tokoyami, and Kirishima. And as they're walking around, Deku and the others would be suddenly just surrounded by fans asking for autographs, mostly Deku being asked for autographs. And finding this annoying, very annoying, Deku uses his speed a bit as he then gets out of there, but everyone gets their autographs in an instant. I would kill to be able to move like that, thinks Kirishima. Now as Deku runs away eventually, he gets found by Uraraka, who laughs because he ran away so fast when those people came close to him, and they be talking, just walking around, when Deku said, well, honestly, I'm not good with people. Before it was fine, but now people are getting too close. It's kind of uncomfortable. Well, I'm sure when you're a natural hero, this is all gonna become natural, says Uraraka. Deku would then thank her for the advice as he asks her what it is she has to get, and as they're talking, she realizes that they're actually alone and runs away, blushing because Aoyama still told her the same thing. She then runs away, making Deku confused, but he guesses that she's just dealing with something and goes on his merry way. However, as he's walking around, he senses something and enters flash time as he turns around to see the face of Shigaraki, as tormented and as twisted as he thought it would be up close. I guess he escaped. What is he doing here? No, I don't have time to think about that. Shigaraki then finds himself in another city, in an alleyway, and he yells, God damn it! And Deku would then return and scour the mall to see actually a few villains around. Yeah, this is getting out of hand. Everyone in the mall would then be hit by a gust of wind and see streaks of lightning as Deku cleans the entire mall full of villains with a smile on his face. Not that anyone notices. And in an instant, the police precinct of Musutafu, is filled by villains and they're all knocked out. And as this happened, Deku just returned to the mall, thinking, well, that's that. And he would then be walking around like nothing happened until the trip was over. And he's back home having gotten what he needed, which was mostly nothing and was just like stuff he wanted, not stuff he needed. Now, while his mom was making lunch, Deku was in his room when he heard her knock, and he sped down to go get it. When he opened the door, however, he saw All Might and Naomasa standing in front of him. What did you do? Asked All Might. What? Nothing. What's with the tone? Naomasa would then say, I assume you're Izuku Midoriya? We came here to talk about the incident earlier today. This is when Inko would come out of the kitchen asking what's going on, and so they would sit down as Deku tells him what he did in the mall today, which honestly is very impressive but also dangerous, and it worried Inko quite a bit. Honestly, Deku isn't in trouble or anything. All Might just wanted to tell him that he should report this stuff instead of just taking care of it of his own and just not saying anything. Like, he literally didn't tell the police at all. Besides, he doesn't have a hero license, so he can still get in trouble for this stuff. But he's happy that Deku makes sure no one was hurt. That's what a hero should do. Just make sure you let the adults know, alright? I mean, Shigaraki? Seriously? Deku would then say, yeah, sorry, but I did save everyone, so my conscience is pretty clean. Naomasa would then get up thanking Deku and Inko for their time, and he and All Might then leave. Now as they leave out the door, Inko grabs Deku's shoulder in a menacing way as she says, you and I are gonna have a long talk, my beautiful boy. We then cut to the next day, and Deku is tired from all the scolding that he received from his mom. And while he is in class, Aizawa is actually fills in everyone on what Deku did, and they're kind of surprised this all happened, and they just barely noticed it because some of them did see streaks of lightning, and Bakugo, who sat in front of Deku, would look back staring at him. He should have beat up at least one of them. Aizawa would then say that the destination of the Forest Lodge has kind of changed, which is kind of a bummer since most students already let their parents know where they were going to be in the beginning, so now there might be some issues, but they're gonna fix it. So things go as usual, and Deku is actually walking around when he meets Shinso in the hall for a bit. So yeah, that happens. Now the day of the departure arrives, and everyone is getting boarded, and they get on the bus and start moving on the road. During the ride, everyone talks a lot, but soon they stop as everyone gets out, stretching. "Please say this is a rest stop, I have to pee," yells Mineta. Everyone would then start wondering why they've stopped, and the Wild Wild Pussycats would just appear out of nowhere, surprising them, and Deku fanboys because he's still a bit of a fan. However, he as well as everyone realize that something is not right here, and something weird is definitely gonna happen. Mandalay would then say, "This is where you guys continue on your own. Our base is all the way down there, and you have to get to it." "Please don't tell me you mean what I think you mean," says Sato. This is when they would all be hoisted into the forest below by sand, but Deku anticipated this, and as he was falling, he used his tornado hands to land safely, and as he did, he rolled down, and he looked around checking if everyone was okay. And for the most part, they were. "Even for you, Wei, this is cruel," yells Sero. They would then hear Mandalay yell to watch out for the magical beast, and they don't know what the hell this means until they notice Mineta about to be eaten by a beast. In an instant, however, this beast would blow up as Deku sent a lightning bolt at it. Another beast would then pop up as Todoroki takes the lead, freezing it, only for Bakugo to blow it up. Pixie Bob would sense this and say, "Oh, so you want to play." A ridiculous amount of beasts would then start running at the group of students, but Deku enters flash time, punching all 10 beasts to oblivion. But there are more coming. Pixie Bob would then feel this and get frustrated, but for a moment she forgot that Yu Wei is in possession of the fastest kid alive. Now time skip to when 2 hours pass, and Aizawa and Mandalay and Pixie Bob as well as Koda see Deku run out of the forest, appearing in front of them as his clothes were a bit battered up, but he didn't look out of breath. From behind him would then come his other classmates, but this time they weren't as tired as in the original. "Well, well, well," says Pixie Bob. "You guys are pretty good, especially you four. And how the hell are you not tired?" She would then get all up in Deku's face, asking why he doesn't look tired, and he would just say, "My powers give me almost an inexhaustible amount of stamina, so me getting out of breath doesn't happen often." This is when Deku would then ask who that little boy is, and Mandalay introduces him as her nephew. Deku would then walk over trying to shake his hand, but he has to dodge an incoming punch from Koda, who was going for his balls. And he didn't even need flash time to dodge this one, it was just quick reflexes. And then, as he did, Koda stormed off, telling the UA students to just freaking leave because they're losers and this doesn't matter, heroes are worthless. "What the hell's up with that little shit?" asked Bakugo. Mandalay would then apologize for Koda as she makes it up to everyone with a fine and deserved ass meal. And Deku eats the most, and of course he has the most food prepared for him because of his high metabolism. And when they're done eating, everyone goes to the hot springs and just soaks in the bath. However, as they're doing so, Mineta would get a bit pervy. The others want him not to peek because there's no point and he will get hurt, but he can't help himself as using his sticky balls, Mineta starts climbing up the wall. However, as he's about to see heaven, he gets pushed back down by Koda, telling him to be a better human being. However, as he falls, Ida catches him, but then Koda starts to fall, and Ida can't get to him in time, so Deku would then enter flash time as he walks out of the bath, putting his towel on. He then walks to where Koda is about to fall, and bam, everyone feels a gust of wind as Deku has Koda in his arms. "Jesus, can't you control that freaking wind thing?" asks Bakugo. "You know I can't," says Deku as he runs away. Now as he does, Deku brings Koda to Mandalay, who takes care of him, and it's there that Deku asks why Koda seems to have such a test for everyone in 1A. Mandalay would then say that Koda does not trust heroes because of what happened to his parents, but she's grateful for, Deku helping him out, even though he was kind of annoying. Deku says no problem and then leaves, feeling a bit sad, I guess you could say. We then cut to the next day and it's 5 a.m. 1A is pulled out of bed, feeling pretty annoyed about this, but, it's a freaking boot camp. Aizawa would then say, "Stop whining, you know what you signed up for. Now Midoriya, step up." Deku would then do so as Aizawa hands him a ball, telling him to throw it. Deku would then get in position, launching the ball into the air, breaking the sound barrier and the stratosphere as well as the atmosphere, leaving it in space. Aizawa would then smirk, showing to everyone that Deku had gotten infinity. Can this bastard get any weirder? Thinks Bakugo. All of One Day would then be shocked seeing how much Deku has grown, and Aizawa says that apart from Deku, not much of anyone else in One Day has improved in terms of power. He then asks Bakugo to throw the ball, but he gets the same score as last time, surprising everyone, including Bakugo himself, who thought that he had at least gotten more power at this point. Aizawa would then say that this camp will help them finally go past their limits, because this isn't about technique or anything, this is just about them releasing all their power and getting stronger. Besides, you don't want to lose to Midoriya for the entire school year, do you? Asks Aizawa. They would all then say hell no, especially Bakugo, as they then move on to the actual training. Now, as they're training, Class 1B is brought to see them, and they are completely baffled. And while everyone was training outside, Deku was actually training inside on what Aizawa now named the Cosmic Treadmill. I guess there's one thing he named right. He then got Deku on it, and Tensei, he got it from Tensei actually, and because it's the only thing that can actually push Deku and handle Deku's speed. He then raises the pace of the treadmill to Mach 5, which is pretty crazy, but Deku still matches it with ease, being able to talk clearly as if he was just freaking jogging. Now, as Deku did this, Tiger, who was next to Aizawa, would see that his vitals are not spiking at all. He's not in any danger. He's not tired at all. He said he had a lot of stamina, but he's been doing this for an hour straight. What the hell? Aizawa would then say he's a metahuman. He's fundamentally different from us. Tiger would then say, well, yeah, but most metahuman villains don't have as much power as this kid does. So Deku keeps running and does nothing but run at the highest speed that the treadmill can handle, which is actually Mach 10. And when his training is done, Deku is sweating bullets, and he goes to take a shower right away. Now, after the shower, Deku and the others would then have to cook their own meals, and hearing this, Deku pulls up his sleeve saying, I'll take care of the firewood. He would then run into the forest, appearing with a bunch of wood, and say, let's get cooking. Working together, One Day would then start distributing responsibility for cooking, and they cook themselves while Deku is just putting the wood in the stoves. Now, as he is, Todoroki would kneel near him, lighting the wood on fire. So, how's it been? Asked Deku. Things got any better at home? Todoroki would then say, I finally started seeing my mom again, after such a long time, but my dad is a completely different story. Deku would then have a somber smile on his face as he tells Todoroki, look, I don't like your dad. And I think I've made it pretty obvious, but I can't really see the good side to him because I'm not his child. But I think it's okay for you to believe that somehow he can change. Even it's a bit scary, it's better than you not trying anything, right? Todoroki would then be taken aback by this little speech and thanks Deku, who says it's nothing, you know, what are friends for. And he then sees Koda just helping out, but as usual, he looks kind of just, you know, morbid. And now after they're done cooking, they start eating, and Deku is just stuffing his face, but he notices Koda leaving the camp. Quickly, he gets a bento, fills it with, you know, a bunch of food, and follows Koda into the mountains. Just as Koda sits down looking up at the stars, Deku finally shows himself saying hi to Koda. You sure you want to be here alone? I'm pretty sure An is worried about you. Leave me alone, says Koda. Koda would then feel a gust of wind just hit him, as a bento was right next to him, and Deku was back where he was. Deku would then say, I will, but just wanted you to get some food in you. Koda, seeing the bento, feels the urge to freaking throw it off the mountain, but then he would look back to see that Deku was actually gone, even though he wanted to, like, you know, protest or whatever. Freaking pest, thanks Koda. We then cut to another day of training, and it passes very quickly, and then the training goes on until the third day. It would be night at this point, and the students were gathered up, and after they ate, they would all stand in front of the forest, you know, as Pixie Bob would say, so, we're going to be doing a test of courage. You take a trip and come with a card that we'll give you, and while you're on the way, Class 1B will be trying to scare the pants off of you. The rules are then explained as people are put in pairs, but Deku seems to be the odd one out as things are uneven, so he doesn't have a partner. He has to wait a few minutes with a few of his classmates, and yeah. But not everyone is allowed to stay because some of them are dragged by Aizawa into class because of their low scores on the written test. But Deku, Ida, Koda, and Mineta wait for everyone else at the, you know, forest. But Class 1B is, you know, actually the first to notice that there is this strange gas filling the area. even though the others are completely unaware of it. But then back at the camp, the Wild Wild Pussycats and the students see a fire start in the forest, and it's freaking blue. Is that a forest fire? Wonders Ida as he says it out loud. This is when Deku for once would make use of his cosmic awareness, and yeah, I looked up on Wikipedia. Speedsters are too strong. So he detects people that he shouldn't be in the area at all, and he tells the Wild Wild Pussycats that villains are here and they're under attack again. You sure about that? Asked Tiger. As Deku was about to answer, Spinner and Magne appear saying, "Oh, I think you should listen to the kid. He's quite right." As he says this, the entire area gets filled with villains, actually ton of them, too many to count, and Deku realizes that they must be stalling for something. He would then enter flash time as he runs at Spinner, roundhouse kicking him in the freaking face. Then he lands down running at Magne and punches him in the stomach, and he would just start going through the horde of villains non-stop. The Wild Wild Pussycats would realize that this is serious and they need to tell the students that they can fight, and Mandalay does, so now they have permission. Deku would then run back to his friend's side as this is when Mandalay realizes that Koda is actually gone. Seriously? For real? I got it, says Deku. He would then run to the mountain, but as he does, the others realize maybe he should have stuck around. We could have used his help, says Mandalay. A few mob villains then start coming out, and now the Wild Wild Pussycats have no other choice but to fight and you know, bring the students into it. But luckily, they're just mobs, so everything should be fine. Now, as Deku is running to the mountain, he actually sees a lot of villains, saying, "Sorry, Koda, you have to wait just a bit." He then takes a detour as he goes and knocks out every villain he comes across, even one Nomu, and then he instantly runs to the mountain. Well, actually, he kills the Nomu, obviously. When he arrives at the top of the mountain, he sees a large hooded man holding Koda, who is crying by the collar. The large man would have his face covered as Deku then punches him in the stomach and he falls to the ground. Meanwhile, Koda is safe in Deku's arms. "You okay?" asks Deku. Koda would then be shaking in fear and he notices this. Deku then looks up to see Muscular actually raging out because that freaking hurt, and he says so. That hurt. He would then launch at Deku with incredible speed, but Deku puts down Koda as he then runs up to Muscular and super freaking uppercuts him. This would send Muscular flying into the air as Deku would then start vibrating his hand and he just punches towards the enemy. And Koda watches as Deku's lightning envelops him and then releases out of him, and a huge crack is heard. This lightning would then strike Muscular, who then slams back into the ground like a comet. And as he does, Deku then says, "If it hurts so much, then maybe you should think twice before trying to kill a kid." Damn, the nerve of these people, seriously. He then checks up on Koda, who is still kind of shaken up, but he's happy that Deku is here. He then picks up Koda and runs back to the camp, seeing that the Pussycats have, taken down most of the villains. He would then hand Koda over to Mandalay, who was happy, because, he didn't freaking die, and they start running to where the other students are, taking lessons. When they make it there, they meet Aizawa, who was about to be hit by flames actually, and quickly Deku launches a small tornado at Dabi, actually turning him into what looks like mud, and his blue flames disappear. "Midoriya? Thanks. So we're under attack, huh?" Deku then says yep, as he would then point into the forest and a lightning bolt strikes into it from his fingers. As he does this, everyone thinks it's pretty weird, to just do that, but then they hear screams as Tiger goes and sees that Deku noticed and knocked out two villains, this being Dabi and Twice, so they're actually going to be, trapped. I'm going to say that now so I don't have to mention it later. They're going to be, held in prison. He then drags them out, dropping them in front of everyone, and they all look like Deku, just freaking impressed. Mandalay would then say, "Wait, you can sense all these villains?" Deku would then say, "Well, kind of. I sense the hostility, and then kind of make out how they look. Right now, I feel Nomu's being released in the forest, actually." "Nomu's? This is overkill," thinks Aizawa. He would then say, "Midoriya, can you go help out?" Deku would then nod, running into the forest as he then comes across a Nomu that is about to actually kill Momo, and he punches its brains out, coursing electricity through it. He would then run Momo back in front of the teachers and everyone else, and he would then keep running back and forth, and every 10 seconds, he just returns with at least two students at his side. Aoyama would then find himself falling to the ground, and he looks around to see a bunch of students as well as himself. Koda would then help him up, Koda from 1A, and then Aoyama asks what's going on. Koda would then say, "Izuku's saving everyone." As he says this, they feel a gust of wind as Tetsu and Kendo appear in front of them, and they're startled as well. "Wait, we just beat that villain. How did we get here?" asked Kendo. We then cut to Deku as he runs in on Shoji carrying Tokoyami. Meanwhile, Todoroki and Bakugo follow behind. He would then spot a villain actually about to touch Bakugo, and he runs behind him, uppercutting the villain into the air. As much as I hate him, says Deku, you're not gonna lay your hands on my classmates. He would then run the group back to the camp, and when they arrive, they're confused as well. Deku then finds the last students, who will be Uraraka and Tsuyu. He did a bunch more runs, but I'm just gonna skip forward. When he finds Tsuyu and Uraraka is about to get stabbed in the heart, and arriving right next to Uraraka, he would turn her intangible by vibrating as he touches her. Toga would then pass through Uraraka, who would then become tangible again, and she would thank Deku hugging him. Tsuyu would then hug Uraraka, being happy that she's safe, and Deku looks forward to see a bloodthirsty Toga who's just licking her knife. Yet nope. In a flash, Toga would be blinded by wind as she can no longer see anyone in front of her, and she would say, that was Izuku? How does All For One expect us to catch him? Uraraka and Tsuyu would then be back at the camp where they see 1A and 1B students. Deku would then finally stop running as he wipes his forehead, asking, is there anyone else I missed? Tiger would then say, Ragdoll and Pixie Bob are still not here. Hearing this, Deku would then look frightened as he ran back in the forest just in time to actually catch Ragdoll being choked by a man in a suit, and he was wearing some weird ass mask. Deku would then run, swiping her away as he then goes to save Pixie Bob from a Nomu and frying its brain, the usual. He then started running back towards the camp while holding them at his side, and on his way back he sees the man in the suit and runs forward as he does a jump, doing a front flip onto his head. Get the hell out of our camp. Deku would then gather massive amounts of kinetic energy, jumping off of All For One's head, slamming his head into the ground as he then flew up into the air. Now, just as he does this, back at the camp, Aizawa and the others and the teachers were doing a roll call, to make sure everyone is here. But this is when Mandalay looks up into the sky. Is that a plane? Tiger would then look up as well, as with everyone else, and Tiger says, it's probably just a bird. Wait, says Uraraka. Wait, that's Izuku. Get the hell out of the way, yells Deku, and in a panic, everyone would make way for him as Deku slams into the ground, creating a huge dust cloud that just blinds everyone for a bit. Deku would then step out of the dust cloud with Pixie Bob and Ragdoll at his side, and they were kinda dizzy, obviously, and Aizawa would run up to Deku, punching him in the head. Stop pulling stupid stunts like that. Sorry, says Deku. Monoma would then say, that's the kid who saved us? What the hell is wrong with 1A? We then fade to black as the next day comes, and Dabi and Twice have been captured, and we cut to the heroes meeting in UA. They're at a round table with Nezu saying, this can't happen again. This is the third attempt at our students' lives, and every time you keep leaving everything to one of our students. Presentmite would then say, I'm just gonna say it, this sort of peace has made us soft, and we're not as guarded as we used to be. Now people have had enough, and they're kind of, telling us that straight to the face with the protests. Aizawa would then cut in saying, I have a way to end the league. All Might would then say, then please tell me, because now that I'm back at 100%, I can no longer just watch. Aizawa would then say, Midoriya told me he had the ability to sense villains in the forest. I'm guessing that's how he was able to save every single student. Although he did forget 2 people, this still proves to be a very useful ability. If we use this, we can go to their base and end this. All Might would then say, so in the end, we have to rely on him anyway? Well, he did apparently beat you, so this is the best option. Midoriya is our best shot. Quirks and metahumans are impossible, but he is just out of the spectrum entirely. And if he weren't so young, I wish we could make him a hero right now. Snap would then say, no way, the kid's parents must be worried enough as it is, that is out of the question. All Might would then stand up saying, actually, he only has his mother left. This is so screwed up. Do we even have a choice? Asked Present Mike. Silence would then fall as Nezu would then tell All Might to call his friend at the police because they have to follow through with this plan. Now, All Might then does so as we cut to all of 1A, excluding Bakugo, who are visiting Momo because she was actually kind of hurt the most. They comfort her and make sure that she's okay, reassuring her that things will, get better. Now, after this little visit, everyone goes home thinking on how to get stronger because, once again, they've relied on Deku. Now, as Deku makes it home, he sits next to his mom and they just watch some TV, but Inko is unwilling to let go of Deku because she's just kind of scared for him. Deku then noticed this and hugged her tightly, and this is when they would actually hear a knock. Inko would then go get it, telling Deku to, rest, and when she opens the door, she sees Aizawa and All Might. She would then let them in, and they tell her of her plan, and now she freaking forbids Deku from fighting at all costs, and All Might tells her, we changed our plan a bit. Deku will not be stepping into the battle at all. That is, if he can deliver on what we're asking for. Deku would then say, yeah, it's All Might. He doesn't need me on the battlefield. Besides, I don't need to actually go to places to sense out people. No one knows, but Deku did beat All Might, so All Might is still the strongest, but now that he's back to normal, he is still really stronger in people's eyes, so he is back to full strength. But Deku did beat him, they're just not letting the public know. Now, Deku would then say, so you need me to sense out a villain's base? Can you really do it from here? Deku would then say, nah, putting that much stress to me is kind of dangerous, Sensei, but, I'll give it a try. He then closes his eyes as he then sees where the villains actually are with ease, and it's like he's watching a video. When he opens his eyes, they spark with multicolored lightning as he then runs to his room and he comes back. He then lays down a piece of paper drawing what he saw at super speed, and they're kind of amazed that he can do something like this. When he was done drawing, Aizawa grabbed the sheet, surprised, saying, ever thought of becoming an artist? I know where this is. Thank you very much. He and All Might would then stand up as they bow, saying sorry for disturbing them, and they said that by tomorrow morning this whole thing would be over, and they promised it. They then left as Deku closed the door, and Inko said, I didn't know you could do that. Can you draw me? Deku would then come back with another sheet of paper and lay it down as he drew her perfectly. This would bring up her spirits, and she stops worrying as much, and Deku shows her what else he can draw. Now from here on out, things will go the same, but this time no students are involved in the final battle, and All For One is at a disadvantage because while All Might is stronger than ever, he is still the same. He hasn't grown at all, and Deku actually ruined his breathing mask when he did that little stunt, so he actually has problems right now. So All Might beats him, bringing back hope to everyone, and the event was caught on camera and everyone in Japan saw it. It was just freaking awesome. And that night, Inko slept comfortably, and as did everyone else. They were just safe, and the symbol of peace lives on, and for now the symbol of fear is gone for now. So the next morning things are pretty weird, but All Might has shown that heroes are still standing strong, and also the dorm system is being implemented. Now, huge time skip to when everyone is arriving at the dorms. Just in case, the dorm system was made to keep the students safe because there have been too many attacks and people want to just make sure their kids aren't on the verge of death every time. Now, all the students were gathered up in front of the UA 1A Alliance building, and they see their new home. A lot of things have happened, so it's a good thing you've all managed to pull through and make it here. Now follow me, this is your new home. At first they were a bit skeptic, but the students were shown that their dorm was freaking awesome. Ton of room for each person, and they have their own personal bathrooms. They have a laundry room, a huge main living room, and a kitchen next to it. It had basically everything they needed. And so they settled in as the boys went to their part of the building and the girls went to their part of the building. By the time they finished doing so, it's night and everyone is just chilling when Mina brings up the idea of seeing what everyone else's rooms look like. And Mineta says they should be allowed to look at the girls' room too because that is justice and that is fair. And they go on with it. The first to be inspected is actually Deku, and Kirishima and Uraraka and Sero enter his room, and he's not really ashamed because his room is like everyone else's, but he has posters of All Might, not too many though, and then his place kind of looks like a lab. Uraraka would then say, I thought you would like someone more like Ingenium, since you have the same quirk, kind of. Deku would then say, well, I kind of got struck by lightning to get these powers. Before that, All Might was the only person I could look up to, so yeah. Wow, this inspection is kind of fun, says Sarah. So everyone checks out each other's rooms, and in the end, the girls pick Sato for the best because of his cakes. And, his cake, I bet his cakes would taste freaking awesome. The man eats sugar to be stronger, so he's done some good-ass taste tests. Now, actually, you think his freaking tongue would be numbed by that feeling by now. Anyway, so now it is time to go back to freaking class. Next morning, the normal routine follows, and everyone is in the homeroom listening to Aizawa. Alright, I forgot to mention this, but soon you're going to have to take the provisional license exam. He then explains the license exam and what they're going to have to do before it. He then mentions that, the exams are really tough to pass, so they need to come up with some super moves. Midnight, Ectoplasm and Cementos would then enter the room with everyone getting excited because they're finally leaving all that school stuff behind and getting back to the real shit. They would then get dressed up, going to Yanma Gymnasium. There's a lot of these places. This is where Cementos will create pillars and a bunch of them for each student to use as target practice or whatever. And setting up these measures, Ectoplasm creates a ton of clones to watch over every student and spar with them if they need help to figure things out. Deku would then make sure his suit was okay, and he would then be approached by a clone. So Midoriya, have you figured out what you're gonna do yet? Deku would then smile, looking at ectoplasm, as he would then say that he has something to try out. He would then start vibrating until he looked like a freaking blur, but out of the blur came out another version of him, and this shocked ectoplasm because he just basically copied his quirk. And Deku would then stop vibrating. Deku would then say, "Ta-da! Speed Mirage. I can make a bunch more, but this is the clearest looking one. How is this possible? It's like you made a clone of yourself, just like me." The clone would then re-enter. Deku would then spin, covering the entire area with a few more clones, surprising the other students who would notice this. Once again, you surprised me. Midoriya, thinks Todoroki. "Wow, there's like a ton of him," says Kirishima. One day will be amazed at another one of Deku's uses of super speed, and they decide that they have to try harder and catch up to him. And when Bakugo saw this, he actually got really mad and started getting even more serious, destroying one of Ectoplasm's clones and asking for another one. "You kids sure are something." Everyone would then turn on to see All Might enter the area, and he says that he's just here to give some advice, nothing more. And he then sees Deku's speed mirages, and he's kind of freaked out. "Okay, there's more of him. Fun," thinks All Might, but he's kind of nervous. He would then walk up to Deku saying, "Hello, young Midoriya. Thanks for your help last time. I would give you advice, but I don't think you really need any. But I do caution restraint. You don't know what your full capabilities are." Deku would then nod as All Might then moves on to giving Kirishima some advice and just helping everyone. Meanwhile, Deku just keeps destroying Ectoplasm clones while training, to the point where Ectoplasm has to tell him to go take a freaking break. And so Deku does, and then he comes back to work on some personal stuff. He walks up to a vacant pillar not being used, and he stretches out his arm as he just starts covering it in a red energy. This energy turns into a construct of a glove, but Deku loses control and it disappears. Damn it, so close. Ectoplasm would then approach him, asking, "Is something wrong, Midoriya?" Deku would then say, "No, it's nothing," and so the training goes on, with students training as much as they can and getting some new equipment, getting their stuff figured out, getting their shit together. And they do this until the day of the provisional license exams comes up. The buses arrive at the stadium, containing the highest ranked students from every school, including UA. UA 1A, The class then steps out, getting overwhelmed by the amount of people in the area, but they're determined to move forward. And as they're going towards the stadium, however, a student from Shiketsu then comes up from behind, as he then yells, "It is an absolute pleasure to meet you." Slamming his head into the ground, Inasa then bows, yelling and welcoming the students of 1A and saying hi and stuff. Deku would then say, Whoa, dude, calm down." "It's like someone combined Kirishima and Ida into one person," says Sero. The other Shiketsu students would then walk up apologizing for their, extreme classmate, who then stops bowing, only to show that he's freaking bleeding. Inasa would then leave, putting on his cap, saying goodbye and sorry for disturbing, and Aizawa lets them know how amazing he is and that they should be cautious. Yes, even Deku. Then Aizawa gets approached by Miss Joke, and she introduces her students and, of course hits on Aizawa, makes a pass at him. And when her students walk up, they seem like very optimistic people. Shindo goes up to shake Deku's hand first, but as he does, he gets shocked, with everyone getting surprised, as Deku then apologizes because he truly doesn't know what happened. Like, he just got hit out of nowhere. He doesn't know. He didn't control the lightning. Shindo would then say, "No, it's fine." He then thinks, could he sense me activating my quirk? I heard he was dangerous, but it's like he's being protected by something else. Shindo then, gets up and doesn't shake anyone else's hand and just leaves respectfully as his classmates check if he's okay. Aizawa would then approach Deku, asking if he did that on purpose and was just playing it. Deku would then say, "No, I really didn't do anything, but if he was trying to use his quirk on me somehow, he probably got shot because of my Speed Force aura." Aizawa then says, "Okay, that's a lot to take in," and then says that they'll need to finally head inside for the provisional license exam, and that is where I'm going to leave it off. Welcome to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was What If Deku Was a Speedster, and next is going to be What If Asta Was a Player. I really hope you guys like that one too. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that I'm going to add in to try to make sense of the system, because it has to somewhat make sense. Alright, then we can get to the OP shit. And Asta is going to hide his power for a while. It's just going to be a whole thing of how Sungjin would hid his power for a while, but soon Asta will reveal it as well, because they'll just feel like it's safe to do so. Also, I Actually, no, I'm not gonna tell you this. That might spoil the whole motivation for Asta to get stronger to begin with. So, you guys can guess what I'm gonna do with the story. Put it down in the comments. You know, have fun, and yeah, stay safe. Goodbye.
Those medical pills are push me over. I kill my fill 3 times a day. These ethanol fumes won't make me sober.